Good day, and welcome to our NACTV's Coffee Chat. My name is Lyle Watson, and today we're pleased to have as our guest Michelle Gerrard. Locally and in the Nipawin District, Michelle doesn't need much of an introduction. She is the owner and operator of our home hardware here in Nipawin. And we're going to just start and maybe look back as to how long you've been here in Nipawin. When did you and Daryl come to Nipawin?
We moved to Nipawin in 2001 in April 15th, 2001. May 15th, 2001 is when we officially moved to Nipawin. Daryl had already been working in Nipawin at Enns Brothers. Wasn't Enns Brothers then, it was Countryside Equipment.
Yes.
And he'd already been working since December
Yeah.
at Countryside Equipment. And May 15th is when we officially moved into our house.
And then when did you buy the existing McLeod store at that time?
April 15th, 2003.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
waited 2 years before you
Yeah.
jumped into
Yeah,
that.
I worked at the co-op for 2 years actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. In the office.
And at that time, it was still under the name of McLeod's.
McLeod's, yeah. It still had the McLeod's sign up front and a lot of the McLeod's signage in the store. So we spent a long time changing everything around, putting up new signage, cleaning, rearranging things to change it over to True Value.
So did you have an interest, a motivation in retail sales? Or what motivated you to get into the retail hardware business?
So I had a background in business administration, but then I took that into the direction of accounting. I got my accounting degree, worked as an accountant in different companies for years, and then realized that I just don't have the personality to sit that long in behind a desk.
Yes.
I just couldn't. I liked the work, but
Yeah.
I just couldn't sit that long behind a desk.
Yes, yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows I can't sit really that long. And so it was a conversation with my father-in-law actually, who was just going through some work changes at the time, and I was in the McLeod store and was having lunch with him one day, and I said, this McLeod store is for sale. I think you should buy it. It's a great location, change it over to this True Value, that's what they're called anyway, and could probably do really good there. And so he looked at me and he goes, well, why don't you buy it? And I went, oh, no, I'm not, I can't do that, I wouldn't do that or whatever. But then it kind of stuck in my mind, and I kept going back into the store, and I thought about it, and they actually, my father-in-law and mother-in-law moved from Winnipeg to Nipawin in 2003 to help us out with the store.
Okay.
And get us started. So yeah, that's how it started.
And the dream has just progressed back from 2003 to 2023.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy 20 years. Hard to
And
believe it's been 20 years.
20
actually.
years.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was basically just the hardware store.
It was just the hardware store, and we kind of got into some different lines through the years. Workwear, some, we sold some sewing supplies for a while, and just kind of kept expanding. And then we expanded into lumber and building materials in 2011.
And that was through, you were in the home hardware franchise?
No, we were still a True Value, but we were with Castle Building Supplies.
Yes,
Castle
yes,
Building
remember.
Materials Supplies. So we ran that for a while, and it was a little bit crazy learning how to run a lumber yard and estimate buildings and quote buildings and do that sort of things. And then we quickly we basically outgrew it. I had rented a building to store some products in, and we were growing out of that. And so we bought the lot that we were using to store our building supplies on Highway 5 North in 2014. And so that worked well for us for a lot of years, gave us a lot of room. And but it was very inefficient, unproductive. having the two locations. You know, you were always running back and forth. It was frustrating for the customers, and it was frustrating for us.
Yep.
And so it was really hard took twice as much energy to really grow that business,
Yep.
running it out of two locations. So yeah, now, and really I think in 2014 is when I started kind of thinking about this dream of a new store, but I didn't know how I was going to do it then. And then we changed to Home Hardware in 2015.
In 2015?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, July 2015 is when
Yep.
we officially became a Home Hardware.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that the lumber franchise wasn't with the store when you originally took it over, was it?
Well, it wasn't originally, but when in our negotiations with Home Hardware, because there was no existing home building center in the area, really, we were allowed to become a Home Hardware building center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then, yeah, it was probably a couple years after that, then I started thinking about the store again and a new store, and we went through a few different renditions of where it would go and what it would look like, and you know, and then COVID hit and
COVID hit.
put it in the back burner for a few years, and
Yeah. Well, I, on behalf of our Nipawin and area citizens and our viewers, we certainly congratulate you on
thank you.
opening up this new
Thank
store.
you.
And I would just like to touch on the format, the business format of Home Hardware. Are you a franchise dealer, or is there another?
No, Home Hardware is a fairly unique business model for our types of industry anyway, where it's a dealer-owned cooperative. So there is about 1,100 dealers across the country, and we each own a share in Home Hardware. And then, you know, the more you grow, the more you own more shares. They issue you more shares in the company. So yeah, so we all have a stake in the company and in our operations, and I find it really makes us close at our grand opening. For example, at our ribbon cutting grand opening last week, we had probably about 40 dealers there from the area, from all over Manitoba, that showed up to congratulate us on opening a store, because they know if I'm successful, they make more money, right?
Right.
Being shareholders is how it works. So we encourage each other, we help each other out, we learn off of each other, we share ideas, we share, you know, what works in our store, what doesn't work, and really, really help each other grow.
And that can be very valuable when you
Very valuable. I've learned a lot.
And I think about that when I watch Home Hardware advertising for the national curling events, for example. And you actually are connected with all the dealers coast to coast.
We are, yeah. And then we get together once a year. Usually we go to what's called Homecoming. It's our dealer market show.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like having 1,100 friends, but you have everything in common. You can very openly share, you know, what works in somebody's store, what works in your store. You can ask them questions. They give you feedback. It's a great environment to really learn. And me coming from the other group that I was with, it was invaluable. I learned so much, and I'm still learning so much. We have a tight group that we're part of, that we openly share our financial information within the group. We study our numbers really, really hard, and we don't criticize, we critique, we ask. I'll have a group of them showing up here actually to tour our store in July, and they'll go through and they'll give me feedback, positive, negative, whatever, but I can take that and go, oh, you know, I never thought of that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Or they have something you never even thought of, but they're trying to help me be better. Yeah.
Well, Home Hardware have always, in my vision or what I see of the business, they always emphasize quality and price.
And Canadian products, whenever available. Our bird seed comes from farms all across Manitoba, Saskatchewan. There's several products that are made at different farms around the St. Jacobs area, which has a heavy Amish community.
Yes.
They make straw brooms, and they make all types of products.
Yeah.
So we
And very good quality
Mhm.
things.
So we try to buy Canadian whenever possible,
Yes.
and quality over quantity whenever possible.
So now that you've gone through this dream from your smaller store here on Main Street, Mountain Avenue, out to 16 Highway West, and just has celebrated your grand opening of approximately 20-some thousand square feet of
Yes.
retail space.
Yes.
Now, what is Michelle Gerrard's next dream? Or are you
Well,
actually going to take a day or two off?
I'm trying to, because so many of our staff are new, and so I'm trying to add staff members to delegate and to, I know the only way to grow is by letting go of some things,
Yes.
and so letting somebody else run with, whatever idea they have to help us grow in
Yes.
different areas. So that's what I'm doing right now, is delegating some of my many hats that I've worn over the
Yes.
years, and so I can so much, especially the last 3 years, COVID and so much of our housing boom, I have spent a lot of time working in my business
Yes.
and on my business, and so now I am wanting to delegate some of those tasks that I know other people, we've got great people at the store,
Yes.
and I know they can do them probably much better than I can do them, to hand them those tasks so I can look for our next opportunity and look for our next whatever is going to be next for the store.
That sounds like good management to me.
Well, I am trying. It's been a crazy few years.
And we use the word dreaming, but it's also strategic planning and
It is, right? And the last 3 years has taught me, if you don't have a firm grip on that, that planning portion of it, and if you're just doing, things can go awry very quickly.
yes.
And so I want to get back to the more the high level type of stuff, and the dreaming and the thinking about what's next. But I did take a couple days off.
Well, we will be looking forward to what your next dream and your plan is,
Yes.
because it's always been exciting for our town here and the Nipawin area district.
There's just so many opportunities in our community. I just look everywhere, and I just see opportunities all over the place.
Yeah.
And
And
so
you've always expressed that from the time you've come, haven't you?
Nipawin is a very unique and very fortunate community
Yeah.
that we have all these opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of communities would love to be in our position, and I'm just really enjoying this kind of stage of where I'm at right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good to take time to enjoy that too, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Thinking of employees, back in 2003, how many employees did you have?
We had probably about 3.5, which included me, myself, and my mother-in-law, Linda
Yeah.
Gerrard, and we had about 1.5 other staff members.
Okay.
And even then, some days we didn't really have a lot to do. Some days we had a lot to do, but we came about this from very, very humble beginnings.
Yes.
I could share that for sure.
And how many employees do you
I
have
think
today?
we're at pretty well 30. We might be 29 or 30, and mostly full-time. We try to employ full-time with benefits and pensions whenever we can. I have always said a happy staff member makes a happy customer. We like to treat our staff members well. I mean, some would probably disagree with me, but
a lot will agree with you. I can.
We have some
from experience.
a lot of long-term staff members,
Yes.
and so we like to treat them well, so they treat our customers well. I firmly believe that when you treat your employees well, they look after your customers.
So being up to 30 employees, and several of those employees are now in management or in management training situations. I think it's obvious that you've brought your business to one of the largest retail employers in Nipawa, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know exactly, really, but maybe.
Then the other thing that you mentioned is that you were able to bring your employees on. I don't think we can consider Home Hardware as a unique or just a minimum wage place to work. You offer your employees, like you said, pension benefits.
Pension benefits, full-time hours,
full-time
salaries.
hours and above minimum wages.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which says a lot for a smaller community like Nipawa to have
and I think there's that perception too. Retail gets sometimes a bad rap with people thinking, and I've had people, you know, laugh at us before about, oh, why would I work for a minimum wage, you know, job? You know, I'm worth more than that. And I always say to them, I said, if I paid minimum wage, I would get a minimum wage worker. We don't pay minimum wage, and we have above minimum wage workers. We have fantastic staff members at the store. I think, I'm biased, but I think we have some of the best staff.
Yeah.
For when I go, I always go to other, not Home Hardware, not in Nipawa either, but you know, I go outside in Nipawa and we go out to eat, or we go into other retail locations, and I try to engage staff, and I immediately think, oh, no, that's not customer service. So I'm biased, but I think we have the best staff there is.
Well, I'm sure you. A lot of people in this area that I know and have talked to feel the same way, Michelle. So you're not the only one.
Yeah,
that
thank
feels
you.
that way.
We do set a high standard for, you know, what we expect for customer service, for sure.
Well, the other thing that has always amazed and impressed me is your energy level, your enthusiasm for life. And I think back when we first met, Michelle, and you had bought the McLeod's or True Value Hardware. Shortly thereafter, you were stricken with cancer, and you now have become a cancer survivor.
Yes, 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah. At the time when I was diagnosed, so we bought the store, in April in 2003, and I was diagnosed in October. And so at that time, you know, there's not really a lot of choices in it. It's like, okay, well, man, I got us into this. You just gotta put your head down and go. So I didn't really feel like, I mean, that's maybe a little bit of my farming background. You just, you got a cut and you're bleeding. You just rub some dirt on that and you keep going, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people can probably relate to that. But you know, at that time too, our daughter was 4 years old.
4 years old.
And so I really felt that I was better off at the store doing something constructive that kept my mind off of things rather than sitting at home and just dwelling on it.
Yes.
You know, so I was bald. I didn't have any hair for quite a long time, actually. And I'm not really a person who gets all caught up in, you know, if I have hair or not hair. And so I just put a hat on my head and I went to the store and I worked. And some people didn't know why I was wearing a hat for 3 months at a time, but I just felt like I didn't want to sit at home and just dwell on it and just think about it. Because you can think of yourself into a really bad place.
So how many years have you now been cancer-free?
It'll be 20 years in October.
It is 20 years since you've been cancer-free.
Yeah, 2003 to 2023.
The other thing I would like to share with our viewers, Michelle, is that aside from all the work and how busy you are in your business, over those 20 years you've also taken time to be part of Cancer Care and their Dragon Boat.
My Dragon Boat team.
Fundraising.
Fundraising. Yeah, I belong to a Dragon Boat team called Waves of Hope.
Yes.
And we have members from all over southwestern Manitoba, Westman area basically. and we paddle. Actually, I missed last Wednesday's first practice for our ribbon cutting. Wednesday nights on Minnedosa Lake, and yeah, I love it. I'm fairly competitive by nature, as you can imagine. So it gets sort of that competitive part of me because we do race, and I like the athletic part of it. Some people in the past have believed when you get cancer, and especially women, maybe who get breast cancer or some other types of cancer, you just rest and you just don't do anything and you should just rest. And the breast cancer awareness and our dragon boat team, and there's dragon boat teams. I just got back from New Zealand actually for an international dragon boat race, and there was almost 4,000 of us there from all over the world.
4,000.
Yeah. And we compete, we race, and we you wear pink and you dance and you sing, and it's really just to celebrate survivorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna get all emotional about it, but
No, and that's
it's amazing.
Yeah. And so in effect it is a celebration of life.
It is, yeah.
And
And it shows people that you can, the best way to enhance your survivor chances of survivorship of cancer is by being active.
yes.
It's always the best way. So that's what we promote. We go out there and we promote healthy activity after a cancer diagnosis.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and it does work as a fundraiser for cancer care too, or
We are sometimes are in partnership with Cancer Care Manitoba in different ways. Sometimes our dragon boat races
Yep.
are to benefit cancer care.
Yep.
We have been on the receiving end of cancer care donations too, in the form of uniforms. I know we had our first uniforms from Cancer Care Manitoba. So yeah, it's sort of a partnership. So much, not so much a fundraiser. We don't exist to raise funds, but we do make donations to the cancer care locations where our members are from. We do occasionally do big fundraisers. We've raised money for the radiation unit at Brandon General Hospital and for Murray House. Do you know Murray House?
yes.
In Brandon
heard of
as
it,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, we've raised money for them to donate specific pieces of equipment or whatever they need for those locations. But yeah,
Wow.
and it's great. It's support. It's a support group.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
there again, how you fit all that into your schedule, I'm not sure. And along with other community events that you help sponsor and work within
Yep.
too, is
Yep.
you have the community at your heart or in your heart too.
There's a few committees that I belong to that I believe strongly in. I also, after 20 years, have learned how to say no to a few things.
Yes.
But there's a few that I really feel strongly in, and they're not all business related. But a few development type committees or type committees where I just feel strongly in the future of Nipawa.
Yes.
We love this community. I mean, my husband's on town council and really feels strongly about our community. We just, only been here for almost 23 years and just love our community, really.
When I first had the pleasure of meeting you, there was something that I felt about your character that someday that you would be running for politics and that you would maybe be on town council or
don't
an
know.
MLA.
I don't know. I just have too much that I want to do and I enjoy doing besides that right now. So
yeah.
I don't know. That's not really ever I've been asked, but it's not really something that I'm really leaning towards right now.
It takes a little patience to be in politics, I think.
And that is something I'm working on. I will admit that is not my strongest suit, is patience, but I am working on it.
Well, no. But yeah, it's just one of those factors, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed over time when you were building the store out on the highway and that is you were part of the daily decisions from day to day.
Yes,
in
I was
the how
general
and why
contractor.
and what you wanted in terms of the building
Yeah.
and the floor plans.
I had a very not firm idea, but I had been, because I've been working on it for so long, I'd been fleshing out what would work, what I would really, really like. And for years, people heard me say, "Oh, we'll do that in the new store. Oh, in the new store, that would be great." And I kept, I'm big on lists. Got lists and paper and files everywhere. And so I did have, by the time I was actually making up plans, I did have a fairly firm idea of what I would like it to look like.
Yeah.
And, and even other dealers. I visited a lot of other stores, took pictures and notes and asked questions and what works in your store? Why would you do this? Why'd you do this? What would you do different,
Yeah.
And I was there every day.
Yeah. And it pays off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. It really, I didn't do it on my own. We had fantastic trades, and then we had great merchandisers. So the merchandisers show up. It took them 52 days from the day that the shelving showed up. They started putting up the shelving and stocking everything. It was amazing.
That's what I was going to ask you. How did you accomplish? Number one, were you close to being on budget in the total building?
Not too bad.
I don't want the personal end of it.
Yeah.
But you were time-wise, you were pretty well bang on.
Well, we were over budget and over time. Neither one of them were that terribly bad for the scale of the project.
Yeah.
But spring of 2022 being so wet.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
So we were supposed to be started in April. It was just so wet, and so we didn't really get even digging around there until June. And then we realized what condition the soil was.
Yes.
We had to drain it all, put in sump wells to drain it. And so we were initially supposed to be open in January 2023, but open in March. So not too bad. About
Not bad at all.
2 months we lost in the beginning, we were at the end.
Compared to a lot of the projects nowadays, that's very, very good.
Yeah, especially
And
there's
I
still
commend you
supply
on
chain.
that, yeah.
Still some supply chain issues.
As you know, Michelle, our time always goes quickly. And our time is getting close to being up for our little coffee chat today. And in closing our program, I'm wondering if there was any specific thoughts that you might like to share with our viewers, whether it be your business, whether it be health-wise, or just anything in general. Is there something that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I don't know. I always feel, and I felt it after our grand opening last week, I feel very lucky. I just feel lucky, 20 years cancer survivor.
Yep.
I feel fortunate that way, but I also feel fortunate, so lucky. In business, you can be very isolated because a lot of people don't understand what we do or why we do it, right? Yeah. And, I feel like at this stage of my life that I've really found a group of people who kind of get me and get what I'm doing, and I've surrounded myself with them. And that's a very lucky stage and a lucky phase of your life when you can get to there and feel supported, and able to be as positive about the future of our community as I am. I just feel very lucky, really, at this stage of my life.
Well, obviously your thankfulness and gratitude shows. It does. And
so many people have supported me and continue to support me. Yeah.
Well, we certainly, on behalf of NACTV and our viewers, Michelle, we would like to thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. And we'd also like to congratulate you on the opening of that beautiful new home hardware.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes our coffee chat with our guest, Michelle Gerrard, today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And stay tuned. We will have more guests coming up on Coffee Chat in future NACTV programs. And until next time, stay healthy, stay happy. My name's Lyle Watson.